Well, good evening, everyone. Michael, Soothing here. Alright, so I thought today we would talk about spam. I know that's an unusual topic, but I'm not going to talk about the spam that shows up in your mailbox, which you should respond to by putting a curse on the senders. Instead, we're going to talk about the spam that's meat, or at least it alleges to be meat. I'm not sure it is, but this is spam classic. You can see the little term there, classic. Why are we talking about spam? Well, because in my last video, I was showing you, a sip of water. I was showing you the pasalubong, things that Joanna's taking to relatives, daughter, sister, ata, in the Philippines. That has greatly expanded because they like spam a lot there. So I wanted to talk about the origin of spam and all of that. Meanwhile, because she bought quite a bit of this to take with her, I'll show you. Oh, look. Spam and eggs. Wait, when I showed you this, was it upside down? Let's do it right side up. Like that. Okay. At least for me, it's right side up. This looks like a spam sandwich with tomato, onion, cheese, and mustard. It looks pretty good, right? Not too bad. And then here we have spam and eggs. I remember spam from when I was a kid. Alright, so let's see how much spam she's got here. Because I told you that sometimes it can get a little overdone when Filipinos are taking stuff to the homeland. Let's see how many cans she's got. I'm too orderly. I have to turn them all around the same way. Or, my sense of organization will be disturbed. We've got 1, 2, 3, 6 spams so far. I have more than that in my mailbox, right? 7. Maybe we can make a spam house out of these. Instead of a house of cards, I'll make a spam house while we're talking. We have 9, 10, 11. It looks like an even dozen. That's good. My sense of stability is enhanced when there's even numbers instead of odd numbers. So what can we say about spam? You think there's not much we can say. I know that's what you're thinking, but there actually is quite a bit. So I'm going to give you the history while I contemplate all of these rows of spam. Alright? Spam is basically, when I was a kid, my grandparents would feed this to me. But they would slather this horrid, cheap ketchup all over it, which was like sugar. And I can't have meat and sugar in combination. So sweet and sour pork is out of the question. Ham, pineapple, and things like that. I don't do that. Now spam and eggs would be okay. Wake up your eggs, it says. Stir diced spam classic into scrambled eggs. Break the monotony. For more fun ideas, visit spam.com. So if you're bored and you don't have any fun ideas, it says here, you can get fun ideas at spam.com. And also, you can follow them on Facebook and Twitter, just in case. Let's see what's in this thing, by the way. It's always been a mystery to me, as it probably is to you. It says here, gluten-free. Oh, perfect. All right. Where's the ingredients? Well, there's 180 calories in a 2-ounce serving, 6 servings per container. So that's not too high in fat and calories, I guess. 16 grams of fat. A little bit high, right? Is this an expiration? Look, it keeps until the year 3010. Okay, that's an exaggeration. It says best by April 2023. So that's a few years off. So it's got a pretty good shelf life, don't you think? I think so. I know you think I should have a bite of this. Someone said do a McBong soon. And I'll try to do that. But I don't want to delve into any of her Spam cans. And by the way, her suitcase, which is supposed to be 50 pounds max, we bought a big giant suitcase. I should show it to you. It's huge. It's the size of the state of Alaska, but not the same shape. Anyway, there's a 50-pound limit on suitcases with the airlines. So she had about 100 pounds, and so what we're going to have to do is send some of this stuff to the Philippines in a balikbayan box. If you don't know what that is, scroll back through my videos into the distant past year somewhere, and you'll find a balikbayan box that we packed to send to the Philippines. It's basically when Filipinos send gifts and goods and foods and things like that back home to relatives there. But anyway, let's go into the history. Spam is a brand of canned cooked pork made by Hormel Foods. It was introduced by Hormel all the way back in 1937, by the way. Let's move some of these while we talk. And it became popular worldwide after its extensive use during World War II, because American GIs were taking Spam everywhere, all over the world, and especially to the Philippines and the Hawaiian Islands, which is why it's so popular in those places now. It was sold in 41 countries on 6 continents by 2003, trademarked in 100 countries, except for the Middle East and North Africa, since it's haram and not kosher, right? It is pork after all, right? So, the basic ingredients are pork with ham added, salt, water, modified potato starch as a binder, I guess that's what holds it together, sugar, and sodium nitrate as a preservative. That's nitrite, not nitrate. It's not an explosive, I don't think. It's a preservative, okay. Many have raised concerns over Spam's nutritional attributes due to its high content of fat and preservative, but it's really not that bad for you. Spam has been popular as a subject in many pop culture appearances, notably a Monty Python sketch, which repeated the name many, many times and led to that becoming a common term for unsolicited emails, right? It derives from this meat, believe it or not. We can build a tower all the way up to the camera with these cans. If we try, I'm reading my notes over here, so that's why it sounds like I'm reading a little bit, because I am. I'm cheating. My memory's not good enough to remember all of this stuff, guys, right? Let's see now. The reason they started Spam in 1937 was a way to increase the sale of pork shoulder, which was not a very popular cut of meat at that time. Well, we're almost all the way to the camera now. Uh-oh. I definitely don't want a Spam collapse. Come on, Spam, don't collapse on me. Ken Dignow, the brother of a company executive, won a $100 prize that year being 1937, in a competition to name the new item. Hormel claims the meaning of the name is known by only a small circle of former Hormel food executives, but popular beliefs is that the name is abbreviation of spiced ham. There was difficulty delivering fresh meat in World War II. We're all the way up to the camera now. And so this was a handy way to get meat to the GIs all over the world in World War II. Meatloaf without basic training is what some GIs called it. Ham that didn't pass its physical. They had a few derogatory but joking terms. I really think it's pretty good if you use it in the right way. My grandparents made it, in no offense to them, but in a way that was not palatable for me, so they would mix it with diced potatoes and put ketchup and stuff in there. I'm actually getting a hankering to try Spam and eggs, just to see how it might taste, and see if it really wakes up the eggs like it says, or will they remain sleeping? I don't know. You tell me. Do any of you guys eat or enjoy Spam? I haven't had it in ages. Now I'm curious to taste it, but I don't want to bust into one of her cans she's taking with her, so maybe we'll get some at the store and I'll do a mukbang video in the future as requested and sample a few different things, not just Spam. Anyway, back to the history. During World War II and the occupations which followed, Spam was introduced into Guam and Hawaii, Okinawa, and the Philippines, and other islands in the Pacific. Immediately absorbed into the native diets, it has become a unique part of culinary history and the effects of U.S. influence in the Pacific Islands. Have you guys ever heard of the cargo cult? There were islands in the South Pacific where they had never seen Caucasians or anything that was part of the Industrial Revolution. And when they came there and made bases in World War II, there were natives and indigenous people. And they gave, who had never been exposed to planes and ships, they gave them Spam and lots of other goodies to ingratiate themselves with the local populace. And they decided that the Caucasians coming there were gods who were bringing miracle food. And they started a religion, cargo cult religion, and were waiting for the gods to come and bring more goodies. And that happened for a while, but eventually, of course, there were no more cargo shipments on planes during when the war was over and the occupations were over. Let's see, as a consequence of World War II rationing and the Land Lease Act, Spam even gained prominence in the United Kingdom. Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, British Prime Minister, later referred to it as a wartime delicacy. Okay, so next time you're thinking about beluga caviar, think about Spam instead, okay? Hormel expanded Spam as part of the Allied Act to the beleaguered Soviet Union, as they were having food shortages, of course, there after World War II and during, especially. Food rationing, areas that were ravaged by conflict came to highly appreciate Spam. Porky the pig, bailed out a lot of people with this product who were starving otherwise. So give Spam its due. Don't be too hard on it. Don't look down your nose at it because it's considered a delicacy in many countries. Domestically, Spam's chief advantages were affordability, accessibility, and extended shelf life, of course. Statistics from the 90s say that 4 cans of Spam were consumed every second in the United States, hopefully by more than one person. I would hate to think of consuming 4 cans in a second, but I'm pretty sure that was spread across the populace. It became part of the diet, I keep misspeaking today, of almost 30% of American households. Perceived differently in different regions of the country, it is sometimes perceived or associated with economic hardship because of its relatively low cost. But again, I don't think we should be uppity about what people like or what they eat, right? Unless it's a diet of Twinkies, which I consider pure artificial fat product. No offense to those of you who like Twinkies, because I like other Hostess products that I'm quite certain are just as bad for me as a Twinkie would be. And I'm sure you'd think that too. All you who always lecture me, stop eating sugar. It's so bad for someone with cancer, etc., etc. Right. I hear ya. Just had my annual physical yesterday, and I'll have you know, all my cholesterols were excellent, and I was not diabetic, okay, on my A1C, so I must be doing some things right. Spam is especially, there's a place called Spamtown, USA, Minnesota, Fremont, Nebraska. Minnesota has a restaurant with a menu devoted exclusively to Spam. It's called Johnny's Spamorama menu. I bet you didn't know that before. I guess this little arrow, lift to corner. See, people that get easily confused like me would say, why is the arrow pointing there when it should be pointing here to where you do the lifting, right? Out here, not in there. Those of us who are aspy and get easily confused. Spam is especially popular in the state of Hawaii, where residents have the highest per capita consumption in the United States. This, of course, once again, goes back to Hawaii being the primary naval base during World War II, so there was lots of Spam going there. And they like pork in Hawaii. They have, hukilaus. That's not what they call it. but you know what I'm talking about. The luau thing, where they have the pork that's all wrapped and everything, and they call it lechon in the Philippines, soft, slowly baked pork. And yeah, but anyway, now there are dozens of varieties in places like Hawaii, not available in other markets. They have honey spam, spam with bacon, hot and spicy spam. That's the one I want to try, hot and spicy. I like my spam just like I like my wife, okay? Let's just put it that way. And Joanne is definitely spicy. She's, okay, don't tell anybody I spoke in any way PG rated, because everything is so uptight now. Hawaiian Burger King restaurants began serving Spam in 2007 to compete with the local McDonald's chain, which also serves Spam. This is something I'm learning as we go. I didn't know about this. It is so popular in Hawaii, it is sometimes referred to as Hawaiian steak. Huh. Okay, now that's going a little too far. I think I'll stick with beef on that one, but they have good steak in Hawaii. They have cattle ranches there, by the way, and lots of other great stuff that they grow and raise. Of course, lots of fruits there, mango and things. Joanne's family has a farm in the Philippines and an orchard, and they have all kinds of great fruits there, and I hope to go there with her someday. This trip I have to stay here for a lot of reasons that I'll go into in some other video, things going on here that I have to manage, but someday I'm going to go with her and visit the Philippines. They have coconuts, mangoes, banana, you name it, they grow it on in their orchard and on some of their properties there. In Hawaii, there's even an annual Spam-themed festival on the island of Oahu that takes place every spring. It's known as the Waikiki Spam Jam. Local chefs and restaurants compete to create new Spam-themed dishes, which are then sold in a massive street fair on Kalakua'a Avenue in Waikiki. In 2017, by the way, just so you know, Hawaii was plagued by a rash of thefts of spam thieves, spam thievery. It's like stealing someone's horse or livelihood. Okay, multiple cases of spam were stolen all at once. Local retailers believed organized crime was involved. This came alongside increases in thefts of spam and other retail goods, like corned beef and booze. But anyway, they believe that the change came due to a change in the law, which raised the threshold by which a theft would be leading to felony charges to $400. So you could steal $390 worth of spam without a felony charge. I think in today's world, in most of our large cities, you can steal something like $50,000 worth of goods and merchandise if you're looting without a felony charge. So it's more liberal here in the States. All right. Guam and the Northern Marianas. In Guam, the average consumption of spam is 16 cans per year per person. I think I've had one can when I was a kid, so I'm not up to that amount yet. But anyway, locals sample it in honor of the best original homemade spam recipes. How do you do a homemade spam recipe? I guess they mean using Spam as a central ingredient, not making your own. That must be what they mean, right? Sandwich de mezcla is a party staple in Puerto Rico, which includes Spam, Velveeta cheese. That's like an artificial goo cheese, right? We used to use it as bait for trout. And pimientos, made into a spread between two slices of sandwich bread. Now, if I was going to do that, I would have to grill the bread, and it would have to be sourdough. So maybe I'll try that in a mukbang video in the future. All right, what's next? How about the UK? I know I have subbies there. I also have very beloved Filipino subbies, very beloved subbies from Mexico, France, Italy, Germany, all over the place. I'm so glad I have some international and other countries. It makes me happy when I hear from you, by the way. Forgive me if I haven't responded to everyone's comments. If I told you all of what was going on in my life, you would be shocked. Shocked. But I don't want to trouble you. Anyway, the Philippines. I wanted to get to this part of the UK. I was on the UK. Back in World War II, New Forge Foods was awarded the license to produce the product in the UK at its Gateacre factory in Liverpool, where it stayed until the Danish Crown Group took over in 1998. The UK has adopted Spam into various recipes. For example, recipes include Spam Yorkshire breakfast. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Yorkshire. I'm sure it's something like Yorkshire or something like that. Can you UK subby correct me and tell me, is it Yorkshire? Well, I don't know how you're going to correct me since I won't be able to audibly hear what you say, but tell me if that's approximately correct. You know, I read all the James Herriot books, and he was from the Yorkshire area, right? Yorkshire, Yorkshire. In Boston, they would say Yorkshire, but I doubt that's how you pronounce it in the UK. Anyway, a Spanish omelette and Spam hash. It can also be deep fried and made into Spam fritters. All right, I'm going to skip what they do with it in China and South Korea and Japan. Oh, in some of these places they put Spam with rice and with eggs, which makes sense as an Asian option. But in the Philippines, Spam, it's a popular food item and seen as a cultural symbol at this point in time. As a former U.S. territory, Spam reached the islands similar to the way it reached Hawaii and Guam as a result of World War II rationing. Spam there in the Philippines is commonly eaten with rice, sometimes garlic fried rice. I think Joanne just likes the white rice usually. She likes to have that with almost anything. It's often eaten with a sunny side up egg with breakfast, alongside of rice, and it's used in another variety of ways, including fried or served alongside condiments or used in sandwiches. It's been featured in numerous Filipino fusion cuisine dishes, including Spam burgers, Spam spaghetti, Spam nuggets, and others. What if you sliced a little bit of Spam, thin, kind of like bacon, and put it on a burger? That might be a unique flavor, right? Flavor option? I'm going to try it in a couple different ways. Now I'm getting interested in seeing what creative things can be done. with the spam. Anyway, the populator. Why can't I talk today, guys? It's stress related, but that's why I'm relaxing with you, so I can de-stress my life. The popularity of spam in the Philippines transcends economic class, and spam gift sets are even used as homecoming gifts. There are at least 10 varieties of spam available in the Philippines, and an estimated 1.25 million kilos of the meat is sold every year there. During rescue efforts after Typhoon Ondoy in 2009, Hormel Foods donated 30,000 pounds of spam to the Philippine National Red Cross. And the people there appreciated it. You know, people in the Philippines are way less spoiled than we are here in the States. And they really appreciate things and enjoy life. One of the things I so admire about Filipinos is they don't go around stressing about every little thing. They just enjoy life. Whatever they have, they make the most of, and they truly enjoy and appreciate, like, every meal. It's a delight to them, which makes it a delight to me when I'm around Filipinos, because, like Joanne likes to say to me, you know, you Americans get a little bit spoiled sometimes. You're always complaining instead of relaxing and enjoying life, and she's absolutely correct about that. If we took more of the Filipino approach, we'd all be a lot happier and a lot less stressed. So I'm taking a page from her book. They have an expression in the Philippines, which is bahala na, like whatever happens, happens. It means like whatever God wills, just deal with it and make the best of it. It's like que sera, sera, right? Stop stressing and just make the best of life. I think it's good advice for all of us. Let's see what else we can tell you before our time together runs out. How long have we been going? A half hour already? Really? Wow. In early 2014, in Japan, Burger King introduced a Spam and Cheese burger as a breakfast menu item. Another thing you didn't know. In World War II, here's a tidbit that is unique. Spam was not only eaten, but it was also incorporated into other aspects of the war. It could be used as grease for guns, and the cans were used for scrap metal, etc. That's not very appetizing when I think about using it as grease for a machine gun, for example. But it was so prominent that Uncle Sam was nicknamed Uncle Spam. Other terms influenced by the product's name included the European Invasion Fleet, also known as the Spam Fleet. Furthermore, the United Service Organizations, the USO, toured what's called the Spam Circuit. In the U.S. after World War II, a troop of former servicewomen was assembled by Hormel Foods to promote Spam from coast to coast. They were known as the Hormel Girls and associated the food with being patriotic. Ah, now that gives me license to eat some Spam. It's a patriotic thing. They even had a radio show, and the troop grew to 60 women, with 16 forming an orchestra. The show went on to be a radio program where the main selling point was Spam. They weren't disbanded until 1953. Wow. Bet you didn't know that. Wait, if I'm going to build you a Spam building, I should do it in a way. I keep wondering if this is upside down to you or right side up. It has to be like this. I get so easily confused when I make these videos because the way it shows in my camera always ends up reversing itself when I'm editing. And as you know, I frequently forget to compensate for that, even though I know I'm supposed to. I'm going to make a Spam condo. I wonder if you could build an entire building or entire condo out of Spam cans. I've seen people do it with other things, like tomato soup or something, right? There's one more thing I gotta read to you, because this is gonna make me look this up on YouTube and see if it's there. Spam was featured in an iconic 1970 Monty Python sketch called, of all things, Spam, set in a cafe which mostly served dishes all containing Spam. Egg and Spam, bacon and Spam, Spam, egg, sausage and Spam, Spam with Spam, etc., etc. The piece even featured a companion song. Because of its use in a line of a song in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, I didn't know it was in that movie. I'm going to have to go back and watch now. The title of the musical version of the film became Spamalot, instead of Camelot, of course. By the 1990s, Spam's perceived ubiquity led to its name being adopted for unsolicited electronic messages. I guess this derives back to the Monty Python sketch, which is interesting. Spam is the subject of the Weird Al Yankovic song Spam, which is a parody of the REM song Stand. Other offshoots of Spam in popular culture include a book of haikus about Spam called Spam-ku. Please don't do that when I'm making videos, people. I forgot to turn off my notifications. Hold on, let's see. Oh, I was asking one of my friends down in California where we were for the past few days whether it's still terribly smoky down there, because it was thick smoke from the fires, and that friend said, yes, still very smoky. But he's moving to Washington State to get away from California, so I can't blame him. In the 1982 film Sophie's Choice, the character Stingo brings a carton of Spam to his newly rented room. Okay, I don't recommend that you watch Sophie's Choice unless you want to become terribly depressed. But it was a well-done film with some deeply thoughtful themes. But I'm not going to tell you about it because I'll get depressed and I don't want to. There's a pumpkin spice flavored Spam even. Spam is celebrated in Austin, no, not Austin, Texas, Austin, Minnesota, home to the Spam Museum. Spam Museum. You think I'm making it up, but I'm going to show you. There's the Spam Museum right there. All right. That's in Austin, Minnesota. The museum tells the history of the Hormel Company, the origin of Spam, its place in world culture, including Hawaii and the Philippines, where Spam is eaten daily by locals. It's also the final judging place of National Spam Recipe Competition. See, we need to get done with this COVID thing so we can get back to important activities like, Spam conventions and stuff, where we can all get together and not have to wear a face mask and stay 10 feet apart. Do you find it difficult to communicate with people when you're wearing a face mask and they don't understand what you're saying and they're also behind plexiglass? Because I do. Anyway, Competing recipes are collected from winning submissions from the top 40 state fairs in the nation. No state fairs this year, folks, I'm sorry to say. No get-togethers, no country fairs, no county fairs, no rock and gem and mineral shows, no poker. Is life worth living? Yes, it is, because I can eat a can of Spam with eggs if I get depressed, right? So, and I can hang out with Joanne. Life is still worth living. The ingredients of Spam, it says here, I already told you, it will vary according to variety, but mostly it's pork, ham, spices, a little bit of preservative, just the sodium nitrite, and some sugar. That's not so bad. It does have 57% of your daily allowance of sodium. So if you're keeping your sodium intake low, you can only have one slice, all right? Last but not least, I'll read you all the varieties of Spam. Spam Classic, Spam Hot and Spicy with Tabasco, Jalapeno Spam, Spam with Black Pepper, Low Sodium Spam, Spam Light, 33% fewer calories, 50% less fat. That's made from pork, ham, and separated chicken. Oh, you're causing chicken divorce to make that one. I'm not sure I like that. Or separated chicken. Spam oven roasted turkey. I sure am glad I turned my phone ringer off, because I have now felt it vibrate on my hip about 15 times in the last minute. So once this friend of mine gets on a roll, he just barrages me with texts, and so that drives me nuts. Glad it's off. Spam spread, Spam bacon. These are the varieties you can buy. Spam cheese, Spam garlic, Spam teriyaki, Spam chorizo. That might be good. Where's the... Well, the hot and spicy had Tabasco. I would rather have like super hot red pepper Spam. Spam boricua, which is a Puerto Rican style flavor. Spam macadamia nuts, where they partner with the Hamakua plantation. That's gotta only be in Hawaii, right? Spam turkey, Spam tocino, and that's about all I'm going to talk about. As far as, I'm sure there's a lot more we could say, but if you get bored, you should break the monotony, it says there. Break the monotony and have some Spam. And, yeah, I'm going to cut some in little cubes when we do a mukbang. I got to write that down so I don't forget. Hold on. I'll write it right now. You guys are always sending me requests, and I write them down, and I want to do them, but then I forget, or I get sidetracked, or whatever. Okay, mukbang. A lot of you don't like mukbang, but some of you request it. I'm going to do Spam with eggs and other foods and other food stuff. I'll try some other thing. Maybe I'll do a mukbang with something I haven't tried before, or not in the last few decades anyway. And that will be one of them, yeah? But anyway, this video went longer than I thought. I thought, oh, I'm going to discuss Spam. That will be about 15 minutes. Instead, we've gone for, I don't know how long, almost an hour. What does it say on my, yeah, 45 minutes. So take care, everyone. Don't ASMR and drive. I hope you're having a good day and relaxing and not getting stressed about what's going on in the world. And I hope that this video will help you on the path to relaxation and sleep and lower blood pressure. If so, please give it a thumbs up, because I always appreciate that. I read all comments and appreciate them, whether I respond or not. Don't ASMR and drive. Bye-bye.